So there's something that's going on in my heart. I've been going out with a woman for a few years now who, when I met her, she was just like a fairy. She was sprightly. She was running around. She was all kind of energy. And in the last year, she's gotten just sicker and sicker and sicker, and nobody knows what it is, and she's all swollen up. And during this time, she had a really difficult time with her job, and she wanted to talk about it, and I did as much as I could, and then I couldn't. And I'm feeling I feel really badly about it. I try to give her back rubs and head rubs and fuss over her because I care deeply about her, and at the same time I'm scared. I'm scared for her.
It's a fine line between giving comfort to someone and focusing and therefore adding power to something unwanted, isn't it?
Yes.
Do you believe that you create her reality?
No.
But it's not easy not to be an observer of it, is it?
It's not. And honestly, part of me just wants to run away and go like, oh my God, because for the longest time it was like, as she talked, we used to be able to talk, and it was a lot of fun to talk about Abraham and all kinds of things. And then this stuff came in more and more and more, and I felt like more and more like not knowing what to do. And at first my response was, I'll do healing things with her. And that seemed to help a little bit, but it seems like she's gotten worse and worse. And I mean, I listen to you guys 12 hours a day, I mean, really, I got the earphones and my...
That may be your problem. She may need some attention.
I know, and that's it. I have two teenage daughters, so I know what the gauntlet is. Okay, they're a piece of cake, but and she's wonderful when I can get it off of that track. But I don't know how to not be affected by it.
Here's the thing. Well, you've asked the most important question of all: how can I be an observer of something unwanted, and stay in alignment with who I really am, and therefore of benefit to someone else? That's the biggest question of all, isn't it? How do I explore variety when something's up close to me and unwanted? How do I focus upon someone that I care about who's experiencing something that they don't want to experience and I don't want them to experience, without my vibrational alignment with who I am taking a beating? And then you ask another question, and how can I give them the undivided attention that they seem to want and maybe even deserve? And we say, you can't have it both ways. You cannot give your attention to something unwanted and stay in vibrational alignment with what is wanted. And so whenever you're in a jam like that, your obvious, to us at least, remedy is to go as general as you can. Because the specifics that are up close to you are clearly depicting unwanted things. So you have to step back from it far enough that you can get a more general look at it. Maybe by projecting off into the future, by thinking in terms of the future getting better, things will get better. Because there's a difference between saying, as you look off into the future generally, things will get better, and looking at things specifically, things are not getting better, things are getting worse. So you have to decide what feels better to you, the stance that feels better to you. This really speaks to something that is so at the heart of why most people don't stay in their vortex more, why most people don't allow themselves vibrational alignment with all of their power. You feel a responsibility or a commitment to be there as an observer, to be there as a partner, to be there as a back rubber, to be there for someone who is not in the place that they want to be. And we want to say to you that you can't have it both ways. You cannot focus on unwanted and be a catalyst to anything that is wanted. And then you say, Well, that doesn't square with all of the other things that are important to me, because I want to be a good partner and I want to be a good supporter. And we say, then you have to define for yourself, what is the support? What is the partnership? What do you really have to offer anyone? And we want to say to you that what you have to offer anyone is your attention, from inside your vortex or from outside your vortex. That's really what you have to offer anyone. When you're offering behavior, like the back rubs or even the words or the sympathy, you can offer it from inside your vortex or from outside your vortex. You can offer it from your core grid or from something that is not your core grid. And so what you've got to do is find a way to find a stance that will allow the path of least resistance to reveal itself to you in the most powerful and productive of ways. It's a hard thing, we acknowledge, to be in a situation where you're observing something unwanted and withdraw your attention from it. In fact, it doesn't feel very good to the other one. If you were to run away, or even if you were to try to change the subject, it does not feel good to the other one. So don't change the subject. Stay on the subject. Just stay on it in a more general way. It is our promise to you that as you get more general about it, in other words, things like, this too shall pass, or I know that you're going to work your way out of this, or I'm loving all of the time that we've been spending together, or there have been plenty of people have been where you're standing that have moved through it, and I believe that you will too. In other words, find your general statements that feel good to you, and don't allow yourself to be drawn in to the drama and the trauma. Yeah. And there probably will never be another situation that is as poignant for you, but it's really what we're talking about all day, every day, no matter what the subject is. You have the ability to focus, and you can tell by the way you feel how you're doing in that focus. It's a bit like, Jerry told the story so many times to Esther and to others, because it was so meaningful to him. He was a lifeguard in his very early years. He lived in New Orleans during high school, and he was a lifeguard at Pontchartrain Beach. And he was instructed that there may be a time that you'll be out there in the water with someone who is thrashing about, and they will be impossible to subdue and to bring in. Their fear of the water may be such, their thrashing about may be such, that you may have to let them drown, he was instructed. And he protested, then what's the point of being a lifeguard? And his instructor said, because if it's going on like that, you will drown too. And there will not be another opportunity for you to be of advantage to anyone. Now that sounds like harsh words, but it really is a bit what deliberate creation is about in this sense. Unless you are selfish enough to demand of yourself your personal alignment, then you have nothing to give another one. And you cannot find personal alignment ever, not one time ever, when you're looking right at something unwanted. So if you stand back and you realize, parents have said this for years, and it's what sort of soured you on this, is they get out the paddle and tell you it's for your own good. But it's sort of like that. For your own good, I am looking at you in a more general stance where I can find the true alignment with who you are. And more important, I can find the true alignment of who I am, because I care about you a great deal. And alignment must come first before I have anything to give you. And then just don't let yourself get sucked into the details of that take you from it. It sounds harsh when you're out of the vortex. It sounds like the only thing that works when you're in the vortex. It sounds like not love to someone who's outside the vortex, and it's the only thing that is love. You have to understand the source energy is looking at everyone who's having this experience. Source energy is there. Source energy is always reaching out to everyone who's asking for anything. Source is standing in the vortex, holding the vibrational patterning, holding the path of least resistance that is evident to them if they will get tuned to the vibrational frequency of that. And so you just have to ask yourself, as a healer, how do I stand? Where do I stand on the spectrum of healingdom? We like to make up words in relationship to where source energy stands. Where do I stand in that arena? And we say, you stand as a representative of the source energy that is offering energy of well-being. You stand as that representative. And source is flowing it to them. But source cannot make them receive it. And neither can you. All you can do is hold yourself in the best place of alignment that you can and allow the path of least resistance to follow through. And what a wonderful thing it is to watch that grid begin to fill in.